Hello students, today's agenda is to check your homework. We're going to learn substitution by simple manipulation, meaning that we're going to manipulate one of the equations, and we're going to be able to do 5.11. Today's students will be able to solve a system of equations by substitution, and this is by manipulating one of the equations. Okay. So for substitution, in one of the equations we need to have one of the variables alone. Okay, one of the variables needs to be alone, and that means that, for example, we could have y equals something else, so y alone. Okay, so what we're gonna do, if you notice, the easiest one to solve for is y because it's positive and it doesn't have a coefficient. So we're gonna put y minus x equals 7, and we want the y to be alone, so we're gonna cancel the x by adding, and now y is alone, it's on its own side of the equal sign. We cannot combine x with 7 because x is a variable and 7 is a constant number. Now we know that the value of y is equals to x plus 7. With that, we know what the value of y is. That means that if I take out my y from here and in its place put x plus 7, I will not be changing this equation because the equality maintains, because I'm taking out y and in its place I'm putting in the same value of y, but it looks different. It's just like taking out a $20 bill and putting in $20 but with other types of bills. Okay, so my equation will look 2x plus 3 times, instead of y, I'm going to put the value of y, which is x plus 7, equals 1. So I just substitute, right? Substitute. The next step is to do distributive property. And so I'm going to get 2x plus 3x. 3 times 7 is 21. Remember that we need to multiply both of the terms inside of the parentheses times that 3 equals 1. The next step is going to be combine like terms. And so my like terms are the 2x and the 3x, and that makes 5x. And I bring down the rest, which is 21 plus 21 equals 1. And so now I'm going to start canceling. Cancel by subtracting. Subtraction. So I'm going to take away 21 from both sides. And 5x is equals to negative 20. Remember that if we have a positive and a negative, we subtract and leave the sign of the bigger one. Okay, so 21 minus 1 is 20, and the bigger one is a negative. Divide both sides by 5, and x is equals to negative 4. So I already found, oops, I forgot to write in here. We're canceling by division. So we already have x. Remember that we're looking for the the point where the two lines would meet. And this is, x is negative 4. To find my y, the easiest one to use is actually the one that I manipulated, because y it's all by itself already. And I replace the value of x in here. So y is equals to, instead of x, I'm going to put negative 4 because I know that's its value. And so y is equals to 3. So this is my answer. Okay. Okay, another example, and you can look back at these notes. I'm not going to write them for the next one, but I'm going to tell them to you. Okay, so for the next example, the easiest one to leave alone is the x. So x minus 2y is equals to 1. I add 2y to both sides. And so my x is equals to 2y plus 1. So it's like changing the $20 bill and get the change, right? So this comes from this equation. So now I'm going to use the other equation, but I'm going to replace. Now, be careful. The one that you're replacing is the one that it's by itself. So get rid of that. Get rid of this x. And we're going to put this, the value of x, into the where the x was before. Okay, so we write everything else as it is. So it's going to be 7 times x, but x, the worth of the value of x is 2y plus 1 minus 5y equals 7. The next step, that's substitution. The next step is distributive property. So 7 times 2y is 14y. 7 times 1 is 7. I bring down the rest as it is. The next step, if you remember, is combine like terms. So I have 14y and negative 5y, which is 9y. I bring down the 7 equals 7. The next step is cancel by subtraction. And so 9y is equals to 7 minus 7 is 0. I divide both sides by 9, and y is equals to 0. Some people say, oh, 0, so I don't need to do anything else. No, it means that there's going to be a value for x, and the place where they meet is something 0. Okay, so that is actually a value for a coordinate. Now the easiest one to use is this equation. Remember that it's easier because x is already isolated. And so I put 2. You can write the equation again and replace it in the following, or you can just replace it in here. So 2 times 0, which is the value of y, plus 1. 2 times 0 is 0 plus 1. And so x equals 0 plus 1 is 1. Okay, so the two lines will meet at point 1, 0. Okay, so this is my solution. So I hope these examples help. Again, since it's kind of like related to, well, it's related to the previous lesson, the only extra step that you need to do is leave one of the variables alone by eliminating the other term. Then the rest is just following similar steps. Okay, so I hope you can understand it, and now you can work on 5.11.